Good morning and greetings from another beautiful Northumbrian morning. It's the 9th of September. One of the drawbacks of going to bed fairly early, as we do here, is that often you wake up either in the middle of the night or in the morning to find a whole new set of COVID news to try to assimilate. And that has been the case, as you may know, and you certainly will know when I say this, overnight. Government restrictions have been brought in to combat what has been very clearly a rise in the COVID outbreak and to make sure it doesn't get any worse. What isn't terribly clear is that how these regulations will have an effect on churches, moving gatherings, social gatherings from 30 to 6 people, but I think not closing pubs and places like that. We don't know where the churches will fit in with that. All this begins to take effect next Monday, I believe, and what it does mean is that certainly after this weekend, everything we do will be reviewed again. We have a service today in Beadnell at 10 o'clock. We have a service at Northumberland on Sunday at 10:30. But you will have to look out for news from us over the next days as we try to make sense of all this about what's going to happen going forward. I'm particularly sad about this because it seems to me that churches and religious communities have been among the most scrupulous and careful, some would say even over scrupulous, in the way in which we've responded to government recommendations and directions. We've done everything very, very carefully, and it would be very sad if this compliance with not only the letter but also the spirit of the law didn't have any good effect going forward. But we have to wait and see what happens, and I will make announcements after consulting with the churches for the weekend. But as it is at the moment, our services today and on Sunday are set to continue. Sorry to put that in at the beginning, but it's very important. Today, the church celebrates a priest that many people will have never heard of. He glories in the name of Charles Fudge Lauder, and he died in 1880. And he was the foremost, really, of what we call the slum priests. These were priests who were affected by the Catholic revival in the Church of England, who were ordained and who set themselves to work in the most difficult situations, particularly in London. Charles was ordained in 1843. He served as curacy in the West Country, and then he joined the staff of St. Barnabas, Pimlico, and was committed to working among the poor. He was also committed to the new called ritualist practices, returning the Church of England to its Catholic origins. And he was involved in the foundation of the Society of the Holy Cross, which was to encourage priests in their piety, in their spiritual life, but also in their mission. And he moved to be a curate again. People did 2 or 3 curacies in those days at St. George's in the East, and he worked there for many years in the most difficult of circumstances. A place where the church didn't reach, where the church had no contact, working from a temporary building, a tin church, until the time when the parish of St. Peter's in London, in the docks, was founded. He also worked through a terrible period of cholera, very relevant to us at the moment, in the East End, and continued to work among the people. For him, mission wasn't doing a quick project. It was about living and working among the people to support to encourage them and to lead them to God. He became the vicar of St. Peter's in 1866, I think it was, but he was exhausted, and in 1880 he retired, and very quickly he died, exhausted by his work. But he had done 40 years of very difficult work, nearly 40 years of very difficult work serving God in the East End of London. We remember him as a symbol of all those clergy who spent themselves in serving God and the people of God in very, very difficult circumstances. In circumstances in our country that it's hard to imagine now, so much worse than anything we experience. And we give thanks for that noble tradition of priests, inspired by their faith, who worked among their people. We pray that each of us, in our own way, inspired by our faith, may share God's love with those around us. May God bless us.